You guys are going to be shocked when I say what I'm about to say, okay? If you don't know, now you know. Okay. If that's not black excellence, I don't even know what to say. What it is, what it ain't, it's your girl AMBREALERTT, and I am back with another video. Sorry guys, I know I was gone for the past maybe week. The past couple of weeks I've been uploading, but this week I was not feeling well, so I decided to just kind of take a week off. I've been focused a little bit on my business. So if you guys don't know, I do sell natural hair care products. Right now the best seller is the Empress seed oil. I actually just came from the post office to ship one of these. So if you want some natural hair oil, I mean, look at my hair, like look at it. It grew so much because I had those braids in, and I use this oil, okay? So if you want hair growth, if you want your hair to be healthier, make sure you click the link below to shop with me. I'm trying to focus on my business a lot more too, because you know it's fall basically right now, and you know I want to get ready for the winter time. I want to make sure I'm putting more products on the website, but I need y'all help to support what's on it right now so that I can get more stuff on there, okay? So make sure you click the link below to shop my business. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to make sure I got that out. I am feeling better today. I'm coming with some fire content, so I hope that you guys are ready, okay? So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Titanic, okay? I'm gonna be dropping in some facts about the Titanic as well as talking about the movie, so you already know it's a biopic series, duh. Okay, in every biopic series episode, I believe this is episode 15 of the biopic series, so that means I've done 15 videos specifically on biopics. It could be about a person, it could be about a thing or a time. So I think that, you know, Titanic is perfect, okay? So we are going to be doing this based off of the 1997 James Cameron production of the movie Titanic. I know that there might be some other movies, but some other Titanic movies, but I haven't seen it. That's the only one that I seen was the 1997 one, and I watched it plenty of times, so I got the scoop, okay? So basically I'm just going to be talking a little bit about the Titanic, you know, when it happened, and talking about a few things that aren't in the movie. So if you guys are ready, make sure that you like, comment below, and subscribe to this channel for more, okay? You don't want to miss out. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's get this channel to 400 subscribers. We're almost there. Let's do this. Let's go to 400 subscribers and beyond, okay? So let's do this. A little backstory on the Titanic. The Titanic was said to be the largest and most unsinkable ship ever made. It's a British liner, okay? So it was sailing from Britain and, you know, some European countries to America. So it's supposed to come back and forth from launch May the 31st, 1911. Titanic launched then, and it was going back and forth, and it made a couple successful trips until the trip that sunk the ship. April 15th, 1912, at like 2 something in the morning, the ship actually sank because it hit an iceberg, okay? The iceberg, in initial impact, it did not put a hole in the ship. It actually dented the ship in a couple places, making the water seep in. So as the water pressure, you know, built from the ocean, of course, it made, you know, a hole, and then, you know, water started to get in the ship, okay? So what I also wanted to talk about was the lifeboats. I felt like that was important to include, because if there were enough lifeboats, then everybody would have been saved, you know, regardless of the ship sinking. They're supposed to be prepared when something like this happened, okay? The Titanic itself could carry 64 lifeboats, and you guys are going to be shocked when I say what I'm about to say, okay? So it could hold up to 65 lifeboats, but for aesthetic reasons, they only put 20 boats on there. 20 lifeboats were on the Titanic out of 65 That means that everybody could have been saved on the Titanic had there been enough lifeboats. And they only filled the first lifeboat up with 28 people, and each boat could have 65 people on there. That means if all 20 boats were full to capacity, it could hold 1,178 people. And the boats were not full to capacity, on top of the fact that there weren't enough lifeboats on the ship to begin with. So you do the math. This is why people call the Titanic a doomed ship, because it's like you're doomed either way. You're doomed for getting on the ship. You're doomed for trying to save your own life. You're doomed, especially if you're in a certain social class. You know, if you're poor, you're doomed. You know what I'm saying? So this was supposed to be, you know, a ship created for white people, you know, just white people, especially in the movie, but we'll get to that in a second. So the designer of the ship was Alexander Carlisle. Alexander Carlisle was the internal designer of the ship, as well as Thomas Andrews, who was the chief naval architect of the ship and did the structural design of the ship. Alexander Carlisle retired June 30th, 1910, and Thomas Andrews was the main naval architect of the ship. Alexander Carlisle did a proposal to put more lifeboats on the Titanic, but was rejected. Thomas Andrews took over in charge of the structural design of the Titanic. He felt totally responsible for the sinking of the ship, and he did, like in the movie, went down right with the ship. Some of the boats did go back to help save people. People were dying between 15 to 30 minutes of being in the water because it was so freezing cold. So that means that there were babies that were dying, there were mothers, there were fathers, especially the men on the ship. A lot of men ended up dying because of how they were regulated. And on top of that, the crew wasn't prepared for an evacuation. They did not know how to properly evacuate people from the ship had there been sinking. They weren't prepared. You're supposed to do things like that before you actually like have a ship with people on it. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to do stuff like that. That's like, you know, doing fire drills when you're in school. You're supposed to like have an evacuation plan so that people can get out safely. Out of the 20 boats that left the Titanic, 2 of them were not full of people, so only 18 of them made a successful trip, you know, to safety. But the other 2 boats were either flipped over or, you know, capsized in some kind of way. A ship actually rescued them at 4 in the morning, so that means that they were in, you know, the people that were in the lifeboats were in there for hours until the ship that actually saved the people came to get them at 4 in the morning. It is true that the ship split in half, and that there was a series of explosion, fire, and stuff that was already on the boat. Now the Titanic sits 12,600 feet beneath the ocean floor. So it's way down there in the Atlantic Ocean. People have made successful voyages and trips down there to see that it is broken in half, which, you know, is accurate from the movie. So now let's get into the movie, okay? So this movie came out in 1997. Comment below if you had the cassette tape. You had the Titanic, and it was like a double tape. So you had the VHS. It was two VHS like movie things. So in your VCR, you had to make sure both VCR tapes was rewinded to the beginning, or you had to stop, rewind it. Like, oh, comment below if you know what I'm talking about. But this was way before there was like DVD, so that's when I was watching the Titanic. This was before it was like coming on TV. Sometimes it would come on TV, but I mainly watched it on the VHS. I watched it over and over again. Most of the time when I do a biopic series, I, you know, look at the movie again. But I watched this movie so many times, I don't have to do that. So yes, James Cameron is the director of the movie. He actually did The Terminator and Terminator 2. Those were his other successful films. But the Titanic was the one that propelled him to his highest success. He also did Avatar, apparently. I didn't know that. Another one of his movies. The depiction that he had of the movie was pretty good. Like, honestly, that's a pretty good movie. I'm only saying that because of how real it looked. Like, It really looked like you could feel the emotion. You could feel like, maybe not was on the ship, but you could feel that it was real. Like, you saw how big the ship was. You saw how dangerous it looked when people were dying. You saw like everything. So as far as the visuals, that movie was very good for it to come out in 1997. But it was a lot of things that he left out in the movie. So of course we know the Titanic movie is, you know, a white, basically one of those white films. It's a difference in social class. So it's first class, second class, third class. So the third class people was the people that was working on the ship. Families are the people that was working on the ship. Second class was people that had a little bit of money, or maybe just got lucky and got a little ticket or whatever. And the first class was the rich people. You know, people had bread. They had so much money. They was bringing their art pieces on the ship, and they was bringing hella luggage, and they was bringing, you know, they had, their rooms was big. They had carpet on the floors, and you could see like the people that lived in, you know, second and third class, they had rats. It was rats where they was staying at. It wasn't no carpet. It was cold. Like, you know, it was a different world for each, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what we got from the movie, was that, you know, there's a difference in social class, whether, you know, even if you're white, it's like you're rich or you're poor, you know? So we got that gist. Also got, of course, the dramatic part of the movie, other than the whole tragedy of the Titanic, was the love story of Jack and Rose. Now, Jack and Rose, you know, Rose was rich. Her parents was rich. Her parents, well, her mom wanted her to marry rich, you know what I'm saying? And she probably, you know, just based on her character on the movie, she probably got some of her humility from her father, and that's probably why her mother wasn't still married, because her mother was very much a snob, very stuck up, and it just wasn't cute. You know what I'm saying? You know, her mother wanted her to marry rich, like most mothers wanted their children to do back in the 1900s. They wanted you to marry somebody for their money so that you could survive. It was basically just about survival. Rose was rich. Jack was poor. Before he got on the ship, he won a ticket. He got on the Titanic at the last minute. And, you know, it was about their story. He saw her. He was like, whoa, she's breathtaking, all of that. They met. They couldn't be together because she was engaged to somebody else. Y'all know the story. Ended up, you know, getting to know each other, hanging out. Then they had sex, you know, and they got it popping, you know, or whatever. And they, you know, they got it popping on the Titanic, you know. It was more rocking the boat, you know, than that was going on, you know what I'm saying? So then the iceberg happened. Y'all already know the story. The iceberg happened, and then he ended up down on the ship. Okay, so I'm gonna just be the first one to tell you if you ain't heard this already, but I'm pretty sure y'all know that the story of Jack and Rose was fictional. It was purely fictional. It was not a real story. There wasn't anyone on the ship named Rose Dawson or Jack Dawson. Well, there was someone on the ship named Jay Dawson, and I think he ended up dying. But I think the director said that he didn't know his name, like, until after he made the character or whatever. So Joseph Dawson is actually the real person. Dawson is made up, basically. Till this day, like, people actually go to Joseph Dawson's grave and they put flowers, and they think that that's the real Jack Dawson or whatever. So they put pictures of Leonardo DiCaprio on his grave, child. That is a lie. It's rare. I have actually met someone that's black that didn't see the Titanic and was like, what is that or whatever. When black people get together and we talk about the Titanic, we always talk about what we would have done instead. And, you know, sometimes I have conversations with my sister and we like, it's kind of like when Keke Palmer was on the TV show and she was like, she knows she could have scooted over on that little piece of boat or whatever. Like, that's how we talk about it, because it's like, if you want your man to survive, you'll do whatever it takes. You'll, you know, if you want both of y'all to survive, you will drag his ass up on that piece of boat. You know, it was very dramatic, you know what I'm saying? But still, that's how we talk about what we would do differently. One thing is for sure is that there were black people on the Titanic. Now, one thing I do know is that the workers on the Titanic weren't all like white servants or whatever. There were black people that were a part of the crew, that were on the Titanic, and most of them unfortunately did pass away. I don't know their names because a list of the people that died came out and they weren't on the list because black people back then were associated as property. So I don't know their names. I tried to look for them and I cannot find them. I don't know who they are, and which is sad, but I do know one person that was on the Titanic that was not a worker, and he was very much that man, and I'm going to be getting into that in the next part of this video, so make sure you stay tuned. Okay, it's Ombre Alert. Okay, I'm back, I'm better, I feel good, and we're coming with the contents. Okay, so make sure that you guys stay tuned for the next video. It's going down. I told y'all this was going to be good. I said that in the last video, but I'm back now, so it's all good. Like, comment down below what you think about this video, and subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this. It's going down.